Old girl in Kerala has opened a political hornet's nest in Kerala. Questions are being raised on the checking of the number of guest workers in the state after the murder. The girl was abducted by Ashfaq on Friday at 3 p.m. The accused Ashfaq took the child to the local market. Some of the locals did question him, but he claimed that the girl was his daughter. Later, he took the child to a secluded place and murdered her. Opposition leaders in Kerala have raised this issue against the government, and especially the leader of the opposition in the Kerala Assembly of the Congress, we have vdsatheesan, bringing the matter to the fore. He has in fact said that the government did not give the adequate police cover as required to search for the child. He questioned the number of policemen deployed for the search and compared it to the extensive security measures for the chief minister. Satheesan further accused the government of failing to control the use of drugs and alcohol in the state. The accused was found in an inebriated state when he was taken into custody by the police. Now, the big question that is being asked is how the guest workers in Kerala, as they are known, and there is a huge population of them who are in Kerala, and now the lens and focus has been on them, especially with the opposition leaders raising the issue about the lack of data when it comes to the guest workers in the state and the crimes that they are allegedly involved in. This has also led to a series of debates between the opposition as well as the Kerala government. Let's listen into some of the reactions coming in with regard to this story.
The victim's family as well is what we had discussed to be done in the coming days. CCTV footage analysis as well as preparation of Meher, preparation and seizing of CCTV footages and all is what we are going to do next. There is no crime detail as of now which we have gotten here. Background checks in his native place is currently ongoing, and after proper official acknowledgement of the request at the proper police station in Bihar, we will get an official reply to that effect.
It's a shocking incident for the state as well as the entire country. But the most surprising thing is, after this incident, the Kerala police post a Facebook post and appeals for pardon. I should like to remind them that the police is given their salaries from the tax that is paid by the common citizen, not to appeal for pardon for their mistakes, but to take necessary action. In this incident, it happened in broad daylight, 3 to 5. That was the time span that is being mentioned. And this person who has been accused, he is a habitual offender, who is a drunkard. And in Aluva, it is said that there is an open bar in the city itself where people come, they frequent, they use drugs, they use liquor. So, what was the police doing?
Well, to discuss more about this, we are joined in by Advocate Sarat Krishnan, who lawyer and former faculty of Law, National Law University in Jodhpur. We have Jisha Surya, my colleague, who is joining us from Kerala. We have Father Edward Thomas, child rights activist, who also joins us in this debate. So let me first go to Jisha Surya, our colleague. Jisha, this murder has gone, in fact, beyond the issue about the atrocity on the child. The question being asked is the government in Kerala aware of the number of guest workers who are there? Official kind of data that is floating around, say around 34 lakh guest workers are present in Kerala, but of that only 1/3 of the guest workers data is what is available for a particular insurance scheme, and that is the only numbers that the government has when it comes to guest workers. But there are a lot of guest workers in Kerala. If 34 lakh is the kind of numbers that we are looking at, and interestingly enough, I came through a statistics that 159 guest workers have been booked in 100 18 murder cases. So guest workers, as Kerala calls it, well, it turns out to be that politically it's turning out to be a nightmare for the CPM to defend right now.
Absolutely. The number of guest workers, the government lacks the data on the number of guest workers in the state. We know that official data says that it's only around 5 lakh, but the various institutions like Gulati Institute have studied, and it says that it might be between 25 to 35 lakh. And that is also a report that came before the COVID period, so it might be more than that. So the official lack of official data, and also the mechanism to check their criminal background or proper ID identification. These are the major questions that are being raised now in the background of this crime. So we know that a lot of similar crimes have happened with migrant workers, like you mentioned. The numbers are around 150, where the people are involved only in murder cases. So some of the recent murder cases are fresh in our mind, like 2016 Jisha murder case, or the last year there was a murder case involving Tamil Nadu migrant laborer who murdered a woman in Thiruvananthapuram. So these are heinous crimes. So such questions are being raised on whether we have any provisions to check the criminal background of these people, or we have a complete data of these people. There are even reports that it's not just Indians. There are people from Myanmar and Bangladesh that are coming to Kerala. So we don't have a proper mechanism to check this. That's a big question that is being raised now.
I have a set of shocking statistics, but I think I'll come to that part of the discussion later on. Let's in fact focus with the guest workers, and in fact to our viewers I would actually say that the talk would after some time would shift on the kind of atrocities that are put against children in Kerala. Well, let me get an advocate Sharath into the debate as of now. Sharath Krishnan, who joins us, who is also a lawyer and former faculty of law, National Law University in Jodhpur. So Sharath, the question that I have is, when it comes to Kerala, it's got an interesting demography in the sense that a lot of blue-collar jobs have now been taken over what we would call migrants, but you can't call them migrants. They are Indians from different part of the state. They are coming in, they are settling in because two to three things are evident in them. One is the high wage that is present compared to other states. So they find it very much this thing, and also the labor-friendly policies that are there in the state. So most of them have been actually settling down also. Before it was, them coming in, but a lot of people have started to settle down also. But when it comes to the numbers, the kind of authentications that is required, not to put out on certain constitutional rights saying that an Indian can go ahead and settle anywhere in this country and build his business, or not to venture into that part. But do you think, like how the opposition is arguing, there should be some kind of scrutiny, should be there when it comes to the laborers coming into the state? Because the kind of crime statistics, when it's associated with the guest workers, in the last 5 years the cases have crossed around 3,000. This is including a series of crimes that have been committed. It's almost 3,000 in the last 5 years, and only during the COVID period of 2020 did you see a slump to 484, 2022, 2021. But before that, it was constantly rising among guest workers. So do you think there should be some kind of scrutiny as this, or just because this incident has put focus on them that we are overreacting to it?
Yes, of course. There should be foolproof scrutiny in this aspect. There is no doubt at all. But at the same time, I think we should not subscribe to the popular narrative which is being spread now, that this is a case of criminality emerging out of illegal migration. I don't think so. This is a clear case of drug abuse, I guess. And of course, Kerala is the most migrant-friendly state, especially in the case of wages and all. And I don't think that there is any dearth of welfare mechanism, because we have already took initiatives for the insurance schemes like health insurance schemes like Awas, and we have taken initiative for.
But then the government is saying, Sharath Kumar, the government is saying that when it comes to the data, one data says there are 34 lakhs, and then you have only 1/3 of the guest workers under that scheme. So what data do you actually have?
Yes, that I do agree with that. I do agree. There is a problem with regard to that database because we are following the 1979 legislation, that is in the State Migrant Workers Act. As per
Okay.
the provisions of that legislation, it is made mandatory if there is 5 or more people who are working under a particular contractor. So that's also a problem. Now, then I think the government is taking initiative to make a legislation so as to ensure the registration of each and every migrant worker. And another aspect which is being discussed, that government is thinking about getting a police clearance certificate from the home state of the migrant labor. That would be a very, I think, it would be very helpful so as to avoid these types of issues regarding the data requirements.
Well, let me get Father Edward into this. Father, I mean, from a state like Kerala, where we in fact talk about being one of the best places for migrant laborers, or I mean guest workers, as we can't call them migrants because they're Indians coming to another part of the country, so we can't subscribe to them. But of late in Kerala, one of the issues that we have seen is there is some kind of tension building between migrant laborers as well as the local population as well. Especially there have been cases, especially during some of the incidents where petty theft has been reported. Also, there have been overreactive steps that have been taken by the locals as well. But the migration of blue collar jobs, especially to the people who are coming from outside the state, has been going on. First, we had a lot of people coming in from Tamil Nadu. That has in fact stopped. Then you have people coming in from Bengal and from Bihar now. What is it that we have a huge dearth of when it comes to blue collar jobs in Kerala? Is that what is driving this huge so-called migration into Kerala?
Yeah, actually, if you look at demography of Kerala, there are a lot of people, young people are moving out from Kerala for these blue collar jobs outside the state and outside the country. And there's a huge dearth of workers in Kerala, and from north, a lot of people are coming in. And in a way, actually, these are one of the most proactive government, with regard to the migrant laborers. And we also have a lot of organizations also working for them. I know an organization like Don Bosco has got a help desk in every district with regard to this. Now, I think it's a welcome move, and as we have seen, these workers who are coming from outside has contributed a lot to the state. But at the same time, this particular incident which has happened, and incidents that is happening, we should really take care of them. And really condolences to the family that was really suffering right now. Now, with regard to the registration, we have a good mechanism with regard to the children, especially where the children are residing in CCI, child care institutions, or also the schools. A good background check is being done. But with a large population of this sort, getting background checkup every person is going to be difficult. And you must be also seeing that they are not regularly working in a firm to be registered under a firm. We have seen places where migrant workers are remaining just on the roadside so that they may be picked up by some company or group to take them. But at the same time, I think we need to be a little bit of cautious. But this should not be taken as like a political, agenda like happening across the country, where migrants, laborers, or people coming from outside are going to be dangerous. I think that move should not be there. But at the same time, sufficient precautions to be taken. That we need to discuss how to take precautions rather than is migrant laborers or the people from outside versus those who are inside. Those discussions are right now is not applicable.
Well, Father, since I've gone through all those opening statements, I just want to put up some statistics. If I can ask my producers to put up the stats. This is the statistics I was just looking at. So in 2016, there were 639 cases against migrant laborers. 2017, we have 744 cases, and in 805 cases in 2018, 2019 we have 978 cases, and in 2020 we have 484 cases. So that is the kind of numbers we have seen. 220 when being the year when COVID had set in, so you had very less kind of cases. But if you look from 2016 to 2019, there has been a progressive move with regard to the case. There's some more statistics that I would in fact like to pull out as well after this. There is one statistics which I would ask my team to put out, is with regard to the number of cases in the last 5 years that has been registered when it comes to this thing. But then I have another very shocking statistics that I would like to share with you all, and this is with regards to the children in Kerala. Kerala, the crimes against children is like 214 children were killed between 2016 to 2023. That's 214 children who were killed from 2016 to 2000. 9,604 children have become victims of sexual abuse between 2016 to 2023. Also, when we look at some of the other aspects as well, what we understand is that the number of cases under POXO is also on the rise when it comes to Kerala. So Kerala, you have the crimes against children, then you have the number of cases under POXO also on the rise, and the number of crimes against children alone stand at 31,364. This is the overall statistic that we are looking at. And in 2021, as I was pointing out, 41 children were murdered in the state. That's alone, that's the data alone from 2021. So why aren't children safe in Kerala is one big question that we should be asking. And this recent death has only ensured, or this murder has only in fact gone ahead and ensured that this is the factor that we should be talking. So I was like trying to marry with the guest workers aspects as well when it comes to it, and therefore I've just shown you the kind of statistics we are looking at. So Sharad Krishnan, when you see this kind of statistics, is Kerala unsafe for children? Because the number of cases have increased, child murders have increased. That is the the significant part of it. It has increased. POXO cases are increasing. Is Kerala actually unsafe for children? Because you have a mechanism, everything in place, but is it unsafe for children? And especially when we have guest workers coming with their families, like father was saying, registration of a family, I mean the children in the family and the wife might not happen because it's only the father who would find himself registered by the contractor who brings in. But a lot of them are still unregistered, untraceable as such, and they tend to be some of the victims in this. But in Kerala overall, this is the kind of shocking statistic that's coming in.
Of course, as far as this registration is concerned, that should be properly done, and there is lack of a proper enactment because we are following the 1979 legislation, as I have already said. So in that aspect, there should be a legislation which will maintain a proper database as far as the migrating laborers are concerned. Regarding the first question with regard to the safety of children in Kerala, I would like to say that we should not subscribe that to the notion that the POXO cases are increasing. In the case of POXO, that legislation itself has its own flaws, lot of flaws. That's especially in the case of the recent debates are going on with regard to the age of consent and all. As per the scheme of the statute, a person below the age of 18 is a child, and in lot of cases wherein the romantic relationships are involved, that has also been treated as POXO. So that also led to this higher level of cases being registered. So such a problem is there that has not been properly addressed by the state so far. And of course, there are safety concerns. I'm not disagree with that, but in that aspect, I don't think that we cannot we can reduce such a crime, sexual offences, by enhancing punishment. That's a most popular view. We cannot create deterrence in the mind of a potential offender by showing him or threatening him with the severity of the punishment. Especially in the case of sexual offences, these are all situational offences. Rape is, of course, a situational offence. Such offence will be taken place only if there is an opportunity. In that case, if we see in most of the cases, the accused would be from a very socially backward circumstances. If we consider this particular case also, as far as a migrant labor is concerned, in this case, you can see that he always suffers an identity issue when he comes to some other place, and due to another issue of drug abuse. So this also can pave a way to this type of criminal behavior. So there should be a multi-pronged approach to deal with these type of issues. We cannot simply reduce this type of crimes by enhancing punishment or only due to a proper policing. There should be a multi-pronged approach, because as we have seen, the plight of the family, the parents who are supposed to go to the working place, the security aspect of the child comes. So in that aspect, we have recently taken a commendable initiative of a crash was launched in Cochin, which will be serving for the children between the age of 6 months to 6 years. Being said, even then, there should be a liaison mechanism can also be established with the local self-government departments and all. And so that an institution like Grama Sabha can also be introduced, wherein these people can raise their concerns, and legal awareness programs can be introduced. And another aspect with regard to the POXO, the recent verdict from the Madhya Pradesh High Court, I think, wherein, as we all know, the basic presumption of law is that ignorance of law is not an excuse. But in rural Madhya Pradesh, the illiteracy rate of the male population is more than 76%. Then the court was interestingly put such a question. Then how can we apply such a presumption to those people? See, the people who are coming from this very low background or...
but then, Sarakarna, for me, the shocking part is the children murdered. The statistic wise, when we look in a state like Kerala, 41 children were murdered in 2021 alone. I'm not gone to the 2022 statistics, not 20 because it's still on this thing, but 2021, 41 children, and the crimes against children are on the increase. Father Edward, how do you see the statistics? How do you see that in Kerala, the kind of crimes that are there on the children? It's been on the rise, and this particular case only speaks one part of it. But then there is a huge fallout, questions being asked about the safety of children in the state.
Sir, one of the reason, these data, I think I congratulate Kerala for the awareness it has created all over. Even I myself get some calls from Kerala from the management. Suppose there is an issue with POXO cases, they themselves call and ask what to do. So the child line has been very, very, very much active, and every case is being registered. Even the COVID time, sometimes we used to think why Kerala is having so much rise of COVID cases. It's all because of the data. So one thing is that if we compare to other states, the reporting mechanism may be much less. But at the same time, we cannot wash off, the cases that is coming into Kerala, being really a secluded in the sense of, supposed to be one of the most educated
I was asking, why are children so vulnerable in Kerala? If you're saying statistically, the reporting mechanism could be strong, that is why we're getting larger number of cases like this registered compared to other states. But still, why is it there a vulnerability like that? Why do you see an increase in the number of crimes against children?
Yeah, we also have statistics right now. The drug abuse also has increasingly, more in Kerala now. So this would be one of the factors. Also the family, if you look at, the closeness, affinity within the family, with the neighbors, with the friends, So what happened, many of these incidents, sometime in the beginning, it doesn't come to light. And thirdly, especially the awareness level in the public, that, POXO cases especially, when I was a child right commissioner of the state of Karnataka, I used to always mention, the children should have always somebody from outside who is able to relate with the child. It should be like a counselor. And the child will be asked certain questions which parents may not be able to ask. So the cases are rising. I am also really surprised in educated state like Kerala. These crimes are increasing. Probably, the liquor policies they have, and there are people, tend to drink a lot, and also maybe the recent rise in drug abuse case. And I feel that would be the reason behind this.
Well, let me get Jisha. Jisha, my colleague, has been covering a lot of such cases as well. Jisha, is there a correlation with regard to rise in drug abuse and the crimes committed in the recent past? Is there a correlation? Because you've been, looking at cases on the ground. Do you see any kind of correlation?
Initially, this case was reported, when it was first reported, there were reports, it was said that he was intoxicated. But today, yesterday, the police clarified that he was not intoxicated. So in this case, we should say, at least if we believe the police version, we must say that he was not under the influence of alcohol or drugs. I don't know whether the use of drug is confirmed, but at least police are now saying that he was not under influence of any of these things. And his motive was sexual gratification. So we need to really do some proper study on what is the reason for this increase in atrocities against children. We can say that there are better mechanism and better legal awareness for the people to register their complaints. Especially the awareness regarding the POXO cases it is better in Kerala, but still, how can so many sexual abuse cases happen in Kerala? And I don't think we just put the blame only on drugs or alcohol. There must be proper study into this to find out what are the real reasons. Like Father Thomas said, some of the cases are really involved people that are close to the children, like family members. But some cases, there are people who are outsiders who get an opportunity and they would, use this opportunity to abuse the kids. Here, in the case of migrant workers, especially, we need to, the state has a responsibility to arrange proper mechanisms like creche, free daycare facilities where these people can provide, a proper care to their kids. They in most cases, the couple, both father and mother will be working for, they will be engaged in menial jobs and they don't have proper facilities to provide. They will have only basic necessities to provide to these children. So sometimes they will be forced to work in unsafe working conditions. We have seen such accidents happening where children will be subject to other forms of danger. So we have to, as a state which enjoys this, we as Kerala need this blue collar jobs. It is our own responsibility to provide a safe working environment for them, be it in the form of a proper residency and also the proper. In the case of kids, it's the state's responsibility to give proper safe and working environment, a safe environment for them. Also, in the case of drugs, yes, there are the issue of drug menace is increasing. Kerala is taking certain steps to prevent it. Even today, the Excise Department has launched raids in all the migrant laborer camps in Peribavur, Aluva, and other places where this community is staying together. So, and they have seized drugs and ganja and things like that. So, drug abuse is real and its impact on the crime too is real. But in this particular case, at least with police version, they are saying that he was not intoxicated.
So you're saying it's the person, at least in this case, the person was not intoxicated. But then, Father, why do you see the kind of number of increase in murders that we have reported from Kerala, especially child murders? What could be the reason, driving thing for that? Of course, there would be a crime that they do. They want to hide that crime. That could be one of the motivation factors. But then there have been reports about children being killed by their own parents over, relationship issues and things like that. So those kind of stories are also now coming in and emerging from there, where action seems to be quite missing. And also, one of the biggest criticisms that vdsatheesan has put out is that there was no adequate police to carry out search operations, is what he said. He said that the number of policemen who was put on this case was very less. So it's a question to all three of you, that why is it that we don't have a mechanism to protect children in Kerala? I mean, the police also seems to be, if there's a missing child report, again, it seems that they do not have the numbers to go ahead and carry on with the search. This is the claim that was being put out by vdsatheesan. First, I'll go to Father, and then I'll go to Sharat Krishna on this. Father, how do you view this?
Yeah. One, as I mentioned to you, especially these murders taking place to hide the fact. I mean, they have done something. The best way to, to escape is to murder the child, and they think they are safe. Secondly, also the family life as such, though we talk about a lot of spirituality, maybe, when you look at
Well, I think, Father, you have to unmute. I think your phone has just muted out. Father Edward, I think your phone has just muted. We will come back to Father Edward once his line is in fact clear. Sharat Kumar, you would in fact, would you in fact see this, that do we have the requisite police to actually investigate cases in Kerala? Because you go to any police station, they say that they are quite overwhelmed with the number of cases that are there. And when it comes to this missing children case especially, there is a huge complication that there. vdsatheesan says that there's so many policemen deployed for this support of politicians and their protections, but not when it comes to in search of this child. And this particular case, they said that there was a big fall when it comes to the number of children that we were in fact looking at, the number of policemen in fact that we were looking at when it came to having some kind of search operations for these children who had gone missing. So clearly it looked like the police were not able to immediately get onto the case.
Yes, in that aspect, I do agree with that. Actually, number of policemen are very less when compared to our demography. So in that aspect, we have to equip our police along with our digital mechanisms and all for this type of investigation. Sometimes a special unit also has to be established.
Well, Jisha, do you think this is becoming now more of a political blame game right now? Because you see the opposition taking up the issue on migrants, they are taking the issue about children's safety, the issue about police. So it looks like right now it is more becoming a political debate on the political realm than actual some kind of action on the ground. We have Rajivan coming in to defend the state government. So are they losing sight of what the actual problem is?
Yeah, it's a common feature of Kerala that everything will be political, but it has its own pros and cons. Like government will be forced to do corrective measures. Just now, the government has declared an immediate compensation of 1 lakh, and they will be forced to do proper, address the issue. Right now. So coming to the issue of policing, one aspect need to be addressed is that the migrant laborers also might feel free to contact the police in case of an atrocity. Most of the time they will be seeing the police when they come for a surprise raid or for a checking or something like in a very hostile environment. So even this family, when they first came about the child missing issue, they are, from what I understand, they came to understand that this child went missing by around 3 p.m. But they did their own search in that area for around 5:30, and I think as per official figures, they reached a police station much later. By the time the death has happened, still the police must be responsible, because even then they couldn't find the girl. They managed to take the accused into custody by Friday night itself, but still they couldn't get any details from him, and they got the details of the child or the corpse by the next morning. So around 21 hours has passed by that time. So even then, this didn't happen in a secluded. The murder, actual crime, happened in a secluded place. But we have seen that there are CCTV footage of this person going with the child. So. There were people intervened to when they saw this girl with the with this man.
At the local market,
of
yes,
course,
I went through that point where they said that, some of the locals did question saying that this thing, and he said that it was his daughter, the victim was his daughter.
Yeah, yeah. So, this man traveled for some distance with this child. So there are definitely lapses from the part of police, at least to find this body. The tragedy but happened by around 5:30. The girl was murdered, but still, there was a long delay in identifying the child. So there are definitely police are facing a lot of criticism. They issued an apology, but they are facing criticism. Opposition leaders are questioning this because recently in other political cases, the police was showing so much enthusiasm to register cases. So they are asking why that is not seen in crimes against children or such injustices.
Well, Father, sorry, your line was not in fact clear by then. You were actually speaking about the kind of situation that we see where there seems to be adequate protection mechanism seems to be not there. I had to interrupt you because the line was not clear then.
Yeah. What I really feel is actually the community has to be really supporting these cases. We also had, the community members involved with the police stations and, neighborhood, and what is happening in the neighborhood. If there are some suspicious activities are going on, are there addicts moving around without any control? And I think this has been done adequately earlier. Now I do not know what is the situation. Being in Karnataka, earlier I used to be really involved in the police stations, involving the community members, and they were to be the informants. I think they should be really strengthened because in no state the police can do an adequate duty because of the numbers present over here, and also the cases that is alarming rate of cases that is increasing. The police may not be able to do this alone. So how we are able to engage the community, that matters a lot.
How to engage with the community. Before I end this discussion, I'll just ask all the three of you one single question, and that is what can be further done? Because here we are not talking about the migrant worker, it's about the children, whether they are children of the migrant workers, guest workers as we call them, or children at large from the state itself. There is something definitely wrong. If I go by the statistic, there is something definitely wrong. So what can be further done? If I'll start with Father, because you've been a child rights activist, what do you think could be further done? You were talking about community, enlightenment now, but what further can be done?
I think, the parents and the teachers need to really engage with these children. The first and foremost, there are all proximities are being established by the adults to these children, and sometimes the child may not be sharing all this. And especially with the media and access to mobiles, children also get too close to, and they also get awareness on this level, and children also sometimes look at opportunities to gratify. So in these particular cases, I think a personal counselor known by the parent, I shall not get a counselor as such, a friend as such, will really help many of these cases to be solved.
Okay.
And
so we are talking about a counselor's role as well. Let's in fact get Advocate Sharat Sharat Krishna into it. How do you think we should take it? Because the aspects of law, we have the law in place, but implementation of the law is the biggest question that we need to raise over here.
Yeah, the problem with our approach is that we are always trying to curb this menace by enhancing the punishment. That's not going to work out. So as far as an offense like sexual abuse is concerned, a lot of factors might play behind. It can be psychological, it can be genetical, it can be sociological even. It is not necessarily always for sexual gratification. There can be other reasons also, like drug abuse and all, and exercising power over a vulnerable victim. And of course, children fall a prey to this type of abuse because they are vulnerable. There is all chance of escape from the clutches of law. That is why they are being abused. And I think there should be a multi-pronged approach from different walks of our society. It should be from the family. We should inculcate the value in the children from the very childhood itself for the respecting women, girls, etc. And they should get this particular culture from the schools. And another aspect is the basic material circumstances or living standard. We have seen that these people, especially the accused, like in this particular case, they are from very marginalized sector of the society. There is no social bond between the family members. In most of the cases, they are coming from dysfunctional family or a broken family.
So, but how? But sorry, we are in fact having paucity of time. But
Yes.
then the question is that how do we address all these factors in one go? Jisha, the last word to you, since you have been reporting on the case. How is the case progressed? The person is in custody, and I think they have already put out the charge sheet against him. So, just let's find out quickly just what's happening on the case.
Because there is so much pressure, police say that they are going to expedite the charge sheet, filing of the charge sheet. They would file it in a record time, they are saying now. They have sought the custody of this person for interrogation. He has been sent to Alva sub jail for a 14-day judicial remand. But today police will get his custody and the interrogation will happen. So we'll get more details into this. But apart from that, the police also, the father of the kid has alleged that there might be more people involved. So police are probing that possibility also. Right now, the police have collecting the evidences. They have contacted the native place of Asfaq Alam, and so far they haven't got any report regarding his criminal antecedents, but they are still probing such possibilities.
Thank you, Jisha, as well as Father Edward and Advocate Sharat Krishnan for in fact joining us and giving us an insight into this. Well, it is quite a shocking case that we have been looking at, and one of the aspects of this has again that after this particular murder of the child, the focus is back on the guest workers and the problems that they face in the state, especially when it comes to keeping their families and also their children safe. But that is a wrap on this News 9 program. On the other side, stay tuned. There are further stories coming up on the other side.
Pakistan is actually genociding Baloch people. So being Baloch is a crime. If you are a Baloch, it means in the eyes of Pakistan, you don't have any right to live.
The Chinese and Pakistanis are colonizing the Baloch and exploiting their resources.
The Baloch armed struggle will continue unless China withdraws, Pakistan military withdraws from Balochistan, and give Baloch complete authority to decide for themselves.
The Baloch feel that if they don't act now, they will become marginalized.
What lies ahead for Balochistan?
Balochistan, Bangladesh 2.0, streaming now.
BrahMos, stealthy, lethal, precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors, and they are turning to the BrahMos for protection. The warship killer. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny.
If Nehruji had treated Jammu and Kashmir like any other princely states of that time, then Kashmir would have been like any other state, peacefully, fully united.
After 70 years, you have nothing to do except to criticize
Jawaharlal Nehru.
There was a dying need on the part of Mr. Nehru to emerge as an international statesman. And in the process, national interest was completely staked and compromised.
By debunking my facts and figures, they are actually disowning Nehruji.
Over 75 years after Jammu and Kashmir's legal accession to India, the Nehru debate is back. The Congress has accused Jammu and Kashmir's Maharaja Hari Singh of vacillating over Kashmir's accession to India. Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju has called this a historic lie.
Nehruji in 1952 Parliament speech clearly mentioned that Maharaja had approached to him before 15 August 1947, but Nehruji did not want Kashmir to be part of Indian Union at that time.
Raja Hari Singh, he didn't want to join India, neither Pakistan nor India. He wanted absolutely an independent state.
Nehruji has his own special liking for Sheikh Abdullah Sahab, and Nehruji had taken a different route and applied different yardstick for the state of Jammu and Kashmir.
It was Sheikh Abdullah who said it is not possible because on one side it is Russia and China, on other side it is Pakistan and Afghanistan. We can't exist if there is independent Kashmir. But Hari Singh wanted it.
On the one hand, you have the external aggressor openly waving the green flag. And on the other hand, you have internal aggressors knowing fully well that they have a bargaining chip with the Indian state to say, listen to us or we go that way. And that is the Abdullah Kotri. Maharaja Hari Singh was very aware of this. He had warned that the moment you choose to empower this only because you have a personal grudge against me, you're going to create for yourself a liability for the long run. And I think he has proven to be prophet.
Why then did Nehru apply different yardsticks, one for Jammu and Kashmir and another for other princely states? On October 22, 1947, thousands of tribals backed by the Pakistan army attacked Kashmir. Maharaja Hari Singh was forced to seek help from India and subsequently accede to India.
Nehruji mentioned that the will of the people of Jammu and Kashmir must be taken. So these are very clear. While all other states, princely states, the decision of the rulers were final. But in the case of Jammu and Kashmir, Nehruji said no. The Maharaja's will alone will not be enough.
When Raja Hari Singh signed the documents, then Lord Mountbatten gave his. Lord Mountbatten was the Governor General and he was representing British government. He was not representing anybody. He said that it is okay, it is provisional until and unless there is referendum in Kashmir. This is the first statement given by the Lord Mountbatten. No Congress leaders has ever given this statement.
If Nehruji had treated Jammu and Kashmir like any other princely states of that time, then Kashmir would have been like any other state, peacefully, fully united.
It was made provisional, perhaps to engage with the faction that could effectively engage on behalf of Kashmiris after the accession, namely the Abdullah gang. Who would be the Prime Minister, who would be the person who would get to appoint representatives to the Constituent Assembly was not decided by the princely state or the ruler of the princely state. Whereas in all other states, so to speak, the king would become the Raj Pramukh and then he would get to dictate as to who would represent that particular territory and secure its interests. That was still the position. That was not the case here.
Nehru's decision of taking Kashmir to the United Nations proved to be a strategic blunder. Many argue that Nehru did this on advice from Lord Mountbatten. Pakistan has raised Kashmir at the United Nations over the last few decades. It has tried to internationalize the issue.
Nehruji took Kashmir issue in the United Nations under wrong provisions and thereby making Kashmir an international issue and he gave in platter to Pakistan the issue of Kashmir.
Junagadh had come back to India. Why? Because ruler was Muslim, but the population of Junagadh was Hindu. It was referendum in Junagadh. More than 90% population was of this opinion, and they supported that we want to join India, not Pakistan. But it was not happening in Kashmir. That is the reason Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and that government approached United Nations.
And Pakistan kept raising the Kashmir issue in every available international forum. These are the result of Nehruji's wrong action.
Why would you rush to the United Nations? You should have simply allowed the army to get in. And I think this has now practically become common knowledge that his dilly-dallying led to finally Vallabhbhai Patel taking in the reins and asking the army chief to proceed. There was a dying need on the part of Mr. Nehru to emerge as an international statesman. And in the process, national interest was completely staked and compromised.
However, the voices of India and the United States.
Nehru said Kashmir could accede to India only if it held a plebiscite. In other words, the people of the state could choose which country they wished to join. But the question remains, was Nehru's judgment clouded by his personal attachment and affinity to Kashmir? Was his continued special status responsible for sowing the seeds of a bloody conflict?
See, the plebiscite is not relevant because Pakistan never withdrew their forces from the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
So many referendum has already been taken place in Kashmir because after every 5 years, election is being held there. So it is nothing but referendum. So no further referendum is required.
But what is relevant is still today, a part of Jammu and Kashmir is still under the occupation of Pakistan. That pains all of us.
The accession has taken place. You have not raised the question of plebiscite on the basis of the composition of the population in any other princely state. So considering that, when you did not deem it fit to raise plebiscite as an option there, why did you suddenly raise it here? Which is why I keep saying that the negotiations that happened on behalf of the Congress led by Nehru and on behalf of the National Conference is something that needs to be understood even better.
One of the fiercest attacks on Nehru has been over autonomy to Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370. J&K was not fully merged with India like other princely states. While Article 370 was meant to be temporary, it continued indefinitely.